This is an opportunity to reassess and reset your own life. So asking yourself the question, who am I? Asking, who do I want to be? And then deciding, what do I need to work on? What do I want to work on? And ultimately remembering that we need to be our authentic selves. That is our highest purpose. There's a Buddhist saying, it says, the purpose of a rose is to be a rose. Your purpose is to be yourself. You don't have to run anywhere to become someone else. You are wonderful just as you are. So recognizing the beauty in who you are, even right now, even without making any of those changes, you are already beautiful. You are already fulfilling your purpose by being you. And as you grow and develop over time, I see it as like a rose that is going from being the rose bud into the fully bloomed rose. And who you are is really important to recognize that you have value just as you are, and growing into being your true self, because we often have this picture of our ideal self, this person that we want to be. And then there's this part of us that this is where we are now. So recognizing that there's room for growth, but throughout that period, you will always be you. You're not going to change into someone else. You are still going to be you. And that's why it's really important to recognize that your purpose ultimately is just to be you and be the best you that you can be. And so in order to thrive, we really need to embrace the awesome. We need to embrace the awesome in ourselves. We need to embrace the awesome in others, and we need to embrace the awesome in the world. And seeing the awesome through God's eyes as well. This has been a really important growth point for me, is being able to not just look at the world with my human eyes, but being able to see the world as God sees the world. So we're going to begin with just bringing awareness and knowledge of how awesome you really are. I want you to see how awesome you are. Start thinking about what is your identity and who do you say you are? If you describe yourself right now today, who do you say you are? What makes you you? So to really know yourself, it requires being honest, lots of honesty. And this is where you can fill in the notes that I sent out today. Knowing yourself requires honesty, courage, and optimism. So those are the three main things that we need in order to know ourselves, truly know ourselves. We need to be honest about who we are. We need to have the courage to look at who we are. And we need to have optimism about who we are and who we're becoming. And so I'm going to go through a few different points here, just about some different things that you can look at in discovering who you are. So the first part is acknowledging your limitations without judgment, right? Often we want to judge ourselves when we say, okay, well, I'm not very good at this, or I can't do this very well, or this is not my strength. And we tend to be very judgmental, and we're hard on ourselves about those things. And this is where that being hard on yourself, that is the judgment. So being able to let go of that judgment and just acknowledge it for what it is. To say, I'm not very good at this. I don't know how to do this, and being okay with that. It is okay to say I can't. It is okay to say I have limits. The fact is we cannot all be good at the same things. We can't all be good at everything. And we all have some things that we're good at, and we have some things that we're not. So knowing yourself also means knowing what your limitations are. And the reason I talk about this first is because most often when people say, who are you? Or how do you describe yourself? We want to talk about our limitations, or those are the first things that come to our head. And maybe we don't want to say them out loud, but those are the things we often think of. Most of us know our flaws better than our strengths. And so we go to great lengths to kind of hide those imperfections for others and pretend that we can manage things even when we can't. And so why do we do those things? Most often it's about a fear of rejection. And fear of judgment is what motivates us to hide. We are afraid that other people are going to judge us. We're afraid that other people are not going to accept us. And so we spend a whole lot of energy just hiding our flaws instead of really focusing on showcasing our strengths. We want to showcase our strengths. And we'll talk more about strengths in just a minute. But when we're focused on our flaws, what we're doing, and we're hiding them, right? So what we end up doing is we put this mask on to try to hide who we really are. And when we are hiding those flaws, when we're hiding those limitations, what those limitations are, those are opportunities for other people to shine, right? We can't all shine in the same area. And this is the beauty of the world and how interconnected we are, is I know that in the areas where I am weak, in the areas where I am not strong, I know that there's other people that can do that. You know, if my bathroom sink is plugged up and I need plumbing work, I'm not going to try to do it myself. Those are not my skills. Those are not my strengths. And so by allowing someone who knows how to do that, do it, I'm allowing them to shine. So when we hide our limitations, we're actually robbing others of their opportunities to shine. And so think about it in terms of our current situation with the isolation. We really have to be reliant on other people right now in a lot of ways, because we can't leave our houses. So, you know, we have those essential services that are out there and they're doing things, and we are so reliant on them. And we need to remember to appreciate what they're doing, and not be too prideful and think I can do it all myself. If you're someone who maybe has a compromised immune system, it is not good for you to leave your house right now. So you have to accept that as a limitation and say to somebody else, hey, can you go to the store and get this for me and drop it off at my door? So those are just some of the small ways that we can recognize that. And then I want to talk about moving into knowing where your gifts are, knowing what your strengths are. So think about the things that you are good at. What are your skills? What are your abilities? What are your competencies? What are the talents that you have? Maybe you have an ability to do something that not very many people can do. Maybe you have skills and talents that other people are relying on you to be able to perform. So really think, what are you good at? Do you have special skills? Do you have a trade? Do you have talents? Some people have just natural abilities and things. For example, people who are naturally athletic or have a natural ability to learn music. Some people are very natural at things like problem solving, or very good at mechanical things. You know, maybe we also want to think about things like our spiritual gifts, things like having knowledge and wisdom and discernment and those sorts of things. What are your spiritual gifts? I just want you to imagine for a minute. Imagine for a second that someone who has a really spectacular talent, right? We've all seen those people, like little kids who suddenly learn how to play piano when they're, you know, just little, and they're amazing, or they have this amazing ability to sing. So what if that was a child that never had the opportunity to sit down in front of a piano? This piano genius never had the opportunity to sit down in front of a piano. They still were a musical genius, but nobody knew because they didn't have an opportunity to use those talents. And so that gift would just lay dormant, right? No one would ever know what beautiful gift they have. So think about some of the things that you might have gifts for, or a talent for, that maybe you've never even tried, right? There's so many different things. And if you have this desire in your heart that you want to try something, then go try it, because you don't know if you have a gift in that area until you've tried it. And so those are some of the things that we can be doing in this time of isolation. It provides us an opportunity to learn a new skill or to try something new. Now, obviously, we have to keep in mind any new skills that we're trying still need to be within the confines of the social distancing and isolation because of what's going on in the world right now. But there are so many instructional videos on learning how to do all sorts of different things. So if there's something that's in your heart that you're saying, or just a general desire to try, then find a way to try it. Another thing in knowing ourselves is knowing what your personal preferences are. So what do you enjoy doing? What do you like to do? Do you like to cook? Do you like to read? When you read, what kind of books do you like to read? Do you like movies? What kind of movies do you like? Do you like to ski or swim or run? And then think about all those things that you really like to do and ask yourself, why do I like those things? Right? So again, in light of the current social distancing, you may not be able to engage in all of those things that you normally would enjoy doing. But knowing why you enjoy them, it's going to help you to kind of think outside of the box and be creative. and find either different ways to do them or different activities that you can enjoy for the same reasons. So this is going to help you to be resilient and help you to thrive and grow during this time. It's just recognizing the things that you enjoy and spend some time doing them. I often think of Ecclesiastes, right? And there's a time to mourn, and there's a time to be sad, and there's a time to work, and there is a time to have fun, and there's a time for pleasure and enjoyment, and to eat and drink and be merry. So making sure you look at this time of social isolation is some of those things we normally would do, like going out for dinner with friends, going to the movie theater. A lot of those things we can't do right now. And those are things that are enjoyment things. And it's really important to make sure you find ways to enjoy yourself even while you're at home. If you're somebody who loves to cook, try a new recipe, make something different. Lots of different ways that we can find enjoyment and pleasure even right at home. But sometimes it takes some creativity to get there.